Hey everyone, Tony D and Little Joan here with a final hot take, final lamp video. Um, do you like my song? I worked on that for a while. It was hard to do the video stuff, uh, and it looks how it looks because I don't know what I'm doing. Anyhow, I want you to imagine 2016, a different 2016. Barack Obama's president, and Donald Trump is the candidate for the Republican Party. But instead of the media screaming that Hillary was going to win, they are in this world. They're a little bit more honest. They're telling the truth. They're saying Donald Trump has got this. Donald Trump is going to win. Donald Trump. Maybe Hillary overplayed her hand in this world and pissed off too many people in the media. And yeah, I mean, they're saying Donald Trump's going to win. Donald Trump's going to win. And Barack Obama gets a report, a disturbing report, that's way worse than the Steele dossier. The Steele dossier in this world's been completely dismissed as a fabrication, but the intelligence report comes in and they have conclusive proof that Donald Trump's sons have accepted millions and millions of dollars from groups in Russia with strong ties to Vladimir Putin. And they have all kinds of evidence that they've accepted money, that they are very predisposed towards Russia. They have communiques from the Trumps saying about how they're going to do good things for Russia. They have, public statements by the Trumps saying that if Russia moves up, then the United States moves up with Russia. Just incredibly strong evidence that Trump is a Russian asset. But Trump's going to win the election. And in fact, he does by a surprisingly interesting, amount. He wins in a lot of key battleground states by a very narrow margin, but he gets just enough of the votes he needs in the final hours to win 4 or 5 key states. And it's very suspicious. It is incredibly suspicious that he won just in these precincts, just in these states. The Democrats are furious. They are fighting this in court. They are getting the cases dismissed. And the media is saying, come on, you got to accept Trump's the president. It's over. This is it's not becoming a country, a first world country like this. But Obama, he has the evidence. This is top secret evidence. What would you expect Obama to do? What would you expect any president to do? What would you do in that situation? I think most people would say, we can't let this guy become president. There's no way. We can't allow this to happen. Now, you might say that Obama would go to the media or the courts. It's not a lot of time. The election's over. They're calling him the president-elect. He's going to fight it in court. Could take months. Could take years. And you're still the president of the United States. I think you'd go to the Pentagon. I think you'd go to your chiefs of staff and say, hey, here's the situation. We have a foreign entity inserting itself in our elections. We have proof, but we don't have time. We have a process, but if we allow that process to move forward, we could end up handing the presidency to the guilty party who will quickly come in here and order you guys to destroy all the evidence. There is no mechanism for Obama to put something in place that Trump cannot get rid of, because he will be president, and there'd be some way he could get rid of it or toss it aside or delay it for 8 years or whatever. So I think you see where I'm going with this. I mean, Biden has a clear tie to the Chinese government. If via his son, via this laptop, which is, it's proven. I mean, this is proven. The election stuff may not be proven, but Hunter's ties to China, there is proof. There's proof in his laptop. I've seen it. I've seen the communiques. It's very clear. These guys, unless they have created an absolute, unless Hunter himself participated in a drama to discredit himself, these guys were taking money from China. They were taking money from not only China, but Chinese intelligence. And Biden himself has been recorded multiple times. Now, you could write a lot of this off and say, well, he's just trying to be diplomatic. But he has said when China rises, so does the United States, that he's against the trade deal Trump pushed forward, that he wants his own trade deal with China, that, it's pretty clear to me that China and Biden are tight, and that Biden would be easy on China. Additionally, it's clear that anything Trump has done, Biden's on the opposite side of, at least from a posturing standpoint. Whether or not he follows through with every little thing, it's another story. And I think it's clear, although many of you would disagree, I suppose, but although not the people who watch this channel regularly, that the election was rigged. So I think Trump may, as a backup plan, he's trying to win in the courts, but I think he's already said to the Pentagon and the chiefs of staff, I think this would be the sensible move. I think he's gone to them and said, this is a threat to national security, because it is. If Biden's in the tank for the Chinese, even a little bit, this is unacceptable. And we haven't heard from the Pentagon and the generals in a long time. They've been very quiet over the last few years. I think that's a culture that was created by Trump. He had a lot of problems in the beginning with the Pentagon. There was a lot of flack going back and forth, but at some point it all just stopped. I think it's because Trump laid down the law. He got rid of a few guys and the rest fell in line, as military guys are wont to do. They're military guys. They follow orders if they're a good soldier. And I don't think they particularly think that Trump's orders are all that outrageous. Most of them. Maybe the higher ups do. The guys who are, thinking above their pay grade and looking for more political battles to fight. But I think the rank and file are looking at this like, yeah, China's bad. There are a lot of secrets in Washington that are essentially open secrets. So, for instance, and I don't want to get into this whole discussion, but, the Israeli, and I've talked about this before, the Israeli American Political Action Committee, AIPAC, or American Israeli Political Action Committee, AIPAC. It's the second most powerful lobby in Washington after AARP. It's a very powerful position to be in. That is essentially the Israeli government's influence over the United States. And this is an open secret in Washington. It's a secret. People don't like to talk about it. They get uncomfortable when you talk about it. But it's true. The Israeli government has a great deal of influence in Washington. Now, you can argue whether or not they should or whether or not they exert that power, but it's an open secret. It's like a bad secret. Everybody knows that. I think, likewise, everybody, at least in the Pentagon, at least in the military, knows the problem with China. And they look at Russia and go, well, yeah, they're a problem too, but they're kind of struggling just to keep their head above water. Whereas the Chinese, see, they're a rising power. They're a rising power. There are other rising powers in the world, but China's very large. It's very rich, at least for now, or at least on paper. And they are moving up in the world. And so when a guy like Trump comes to the generals with a very sensible and pragmatic sort of assertion like this, listen, we have a candidate who may take the presidency, who is, aligned with China, and here is some of the proof. I got to think that the generals go, oh, yeah, we don't like that. No, let's not get this guy in. We support you, Trump, over him. What's the plan? I think that's the plan. I mean, I think it's a backup plan. I think Trump's trying really hard to win this thing on a legal and constitutional basis so he doesn't have to sort of pull this final lever and go, well, I guess we're going to do this the hard way and declare martial law or the Insurrection Act or whatever. But I don't think once guys in the military hear this stuff or know this stuff, I don't think they could allow Biden to become president because that would cause more problems than forcing Trump back in. See, if Trump's back in, well, it's kind of business as usual. Yeah, there'll be riots and all sorts of, screaming from the left, and the media will say a bunch of nasty stuff, but they've been doing that for years. So we're all sort of used to that. And quite frankly, Trump, without worrying about a second term, and he'd have the Senate still, he'd have a much closer vote in the House, and he'd probably be looking at getting the House in 2 years easily. And with all that in mind, Trump could still soldier forward and still, it wouldn't be like Trump unleashed, but he would still soldier forward and keep the country together. Biden, however, would be hot to undo everything Trump has done up until this point, especially that trade deal, which would strengthen China, weaken the United States, and quite frankly, cause a situation where, the Democrats, desperate to maintain their power, what do? Well, they change the rules. So they'd be looking to pack the Supreme Court. They'd be looking to maintain their election dominance by cheating. If you think it was an outrage that they used Dominion voting machines in, 27 states? I heard a number as high as 40. Well, why doesn't Biden just decide that Dominion now is in all 50 states? I mean, he could. He could force it upon the states. Most of them would jump at the chance. The only ones that would fight it would be the ones that are red states. So, he'd probably pick up a handful of states that would either lose the court battle or just give up. I mean, look at Georgia. Look at the rhinos there. They're not exactly reliable Republicans now, are they? I'm sure they'd jump at the chance. Oh, of course, we'll use Dominion. I mean, I think they already are, but a sort of like federal decree, like this is the voting system we have to use now. Well, this could be very bad. I mean, this could lock the Democrats in, and that's it. And perhaps that's another aspect that Trump sort of realizes in the back of his head, and some of these other people working with him, like, we can't let the Democrats win this time until we expose this election fraud, or else it's endemic forever. And they're going to be running the show forever. And anyone who wants to stand up to these people will invariably be fired or just driven out of office until there's no one left. There's no one left that the Democrats don't control. They'll put in a few rhinos that will be acceptable towards them. That is, until the extreme left comes along, and they'll be busy working on the moderates and working on everybody else that is left in the Democratic Party, saying, well, you haven't gone left enough. We still don't have UBI and universal health care and free college and a pony. So, it's not going to end. And I think these military guys kind of know that. And most of them tend to be Republican, libertarian leaning. Yeah, there's a few that are Democrats, and certainly there's plenty that are just career guys who are going to listen to whoever's in charge, but got to think a lot of them are patriots. You don't sign up to lay your life down for your country and not have a stake in it. So I think it's very possible that these guys are with Trump, and maybe determined not to let Biden take office. In which case, I think things could get a little nasty. However, I don't think it'll get very nasty simply because I don't think the Democrats have that kind of power backing them. Yeah, they might have the intelligence apparatus, and that's a powerful apparatus, don't get me wrong, but it's the kind of apparatus that is indirect power, not direct power. And they would probably have to wait until their next opportunity. But my sense of it is that Trump is going for the vampire's heart. He's going for the intel community. You know, a lot of people keep asking me about Gina Haspel. And yeah, I don't believe she was in a shootout in Frankfurt and is shot or captured or whatever. But I also haven't seen Gina Haspel. I keep checking the news, but she hasn't reared her head. But I don't know if I believe she's jailed up somewhere working with Trump. I just can't believe that. I mean, I'm not sure what kind of proof they'd have to get her like that. It would have to be unbelievable proof. It would have to be like mind-blowing proof. It would have to be Epstein level of blackmail proof that that she would just turn on everybody and in fact was in on this stuff from the beginning. So I still say pump the brakes on that stuff until we get more information. But in terms of will Trump go away quietly? He keeps saying he would if he lost, but he doesn't believe he lost. He thinks the election is rigged, and I agree with him. I think the election was rigged, and I don't know if he's going to have time to prove it. And if he doesn't get in, it'll never get proven. It'll just be conspiracy stuff you read on or listen to on this channel or Alex Jones, a BitChute or whatever. You're never going to get closure on that. And that means a lot of disenfranchised people, which unfortunately is probably something the people in charge really want. They want that sort of disenfranchisement. Certainly the Chinese want that. They want as much volatility as possible. And but I don't think the Joint Chiefs, that's who they are, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, I don't think they want that. And I got to think they're weighing their options very carefully in this. And that's kind of why Biden's been, you know, they're slowing down on briefing Biden transition team. You know, they're making excuses. Oh yeah, we're going to brief them. We just got some scheduling conflicts here. We're going to get to you. Don't worry, it's going to be fine. It's only a few weeks left. It's only a few weeks left. And the media's going to scream, oh my God, it's going to be chaos if you don't brief these people. No, it's not. No, it's not. These people aren't idiots. They can be briefed. A couple of days of briefing. They can figure things out. Trump did it with one hand behind his back, so I wouldn't worry about that. What I would worry about is if Trump doesn't make it out of SCOTUS with the right decisions, it comes down to the electoral process that I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I can't imagine the military is going to be too happy with a Biden administration. Yeah, I mean, you know, our military is very reluctant not to listen to a civilian leader. But what do you listen to when you have a civilian leader, but then you see another one who is illegitimate and the one who is legitimate tells you, don't listen to him, listen to me? Could get very spicy.